Hello everyone and welcome back to GodSaw's Turnbuckle, and today we are going to be doing a full review of WWE Survivor Series 2025, and just going off of the start with everything for this entire show itself. Uh Honestly, I felt like the show overall was fine. It was more like the review I did of Saturday Night's Main Event not too long ago, where honestly it was fine, but it was also kind of meh to go along with it, and it probably comes to the point of being of how the War Games matches ended out working out, because honestly it did tease you for potential WrestleMania matches and everything like that, especially in the men's War Game match. But in the women's War Games match, you didn't really further too many storylines in there. The match itself was fine. We'll get into that here in a brief moment. But the big thing about those particular matches, you were probably expecting the big moment to happen within or during or after the match. And honestly, you didn't get it with either one of them. Now, don't get me wrong, you did get a very good match with Dominik Mysterio and John Cena. All the bells and whistles, all the run-ins, everything in that sense, a return to go along with it. I do feel like you did get something out of that particular match. But when it came to the War Games matches, the outside of the like the mystery person showing up and basically ending the match, and not too long after the everybody had gotten into the ring as well, you didn't really get that big moment. If you were thinking that a heel turn was going to happen, it didn't happen. You got a stare down at the end of the match between Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and then also Roman and Cody. You did get this aspect of, Roman helped CM Punk up and fist bumped him, and then he looks at Cody at the end of the match and basically says, we're never teaming again, uh, style of line. And they had a big stare down afterwards, probably teasing being the WrestleMania main event to go along with it. But again, you just didn't really have that huge moment on this show, especially with the War Games matches. Now, for anybody who liked any of the particular matches, they to go along with it, that is completely someone's opinion on that as well. I found all the matches here on this show to be fine to relatively good. The War Games matches themselves, I thought they were fine. On the women's War Games match, which we'll get into right now a little bit more, the women's War Games match, the big thing with this one is that it didn't really push storylines forward with everything. Just for reference with everything here, Charlotte and Asuka started off the match, which which played off of the SmackDown match where they had where they fought for the advantage. In terms of order, so it went Charlotte Flair, then Asuka, then Io Sky, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Kairi Sane, AJ Lee, Nia Jax, and Rhea Ripley came out last for the babyface team, and then Lash Legend came out for the heel team last as well. Now, honestly, I felt like they did some really good spots in this match. I do actually, again, I found this match to be more fine, not just on the more on the aspect of they didn't really push storylines further in this match. They more or less were doing some really good spots within the match. I like the aspect of I like the whole aspect of them bringing out the weapons with them. I did also like the nice little touch that you had Io Sky with a trash can lid that said Io Sky on it, and then when Rhea Ripley came out, she brought out the garbage cans, and one of them had Io Sky's name on it, which probably led you to know what was going to happen a little bit later on in this match. And honestly, I did like that nice little touch. I also liked the touch between AJ Lee and Rhea Ripley having to set up getting the trash can to Io Sky on the top. That whole little bit where it's like AJ was trying to get that, but okay, not able to throw it up there, can't just hand it to her, so Rhea Ripley puts her on her shoulders and they get it up there. I thought that was a nice little touch, and of course led to the most extreme spot of the night, which was Io putting the trash can on top of her, like over her, and doing a swanton off the top of the cage, basically taking everyone out, and it did lead to the end of the match as well. But you did also have nice little spots in here where, you know, Io Sky used the trash can lid for a Meteora in the corner. You had Kairi Sane going out there with a chain, and she even used the insane elbow using the chain later on in there as well. I did like the aspect of trying to put over Lash Legend more, and having her come out as being a powerhouse right at the end of the match. Now, did anybody like really react to it? Not necessarily, but here's the thing, Lash Legend really hasn't been on the main roster all that long, so you can't expect a huge reaction when somebody is relatively new, and this is literally their first match on the actual main roster itself. Well, not necessarily her first match. They did she did have some tag team matches early on, but like as somebody who's going to be on the main roster full time, this is relatively her first match with that as well. The match ended itself again with Io Sky coming off the top of the cage with the trash can, doing a swanton, taking out the other four members, only leaving Becky Lynch to basically eat everyone's finisher and then tap out to the octopus hold from AJ Lee. Again, I thought this match was good. Or I won't say good, it was fine. It did what it needed to do in terms of getting spots in there and everything. I felt like they could have expanded stories a little bit more in here, but I feel like they didn't necessarily go that route for everything. And ultimately, it was fun. It was a fine match in the end. Wish they could have done a little bit more storyline wise. But like I said, I probably would technically prefer this match over the men's War Games match, mainly just based upon the spots that were able to be done in this one. The men's one we'll get into here in a little bit. So we'll be on that one here in a brief moment. So following the women's War Games match, they did have the Intercontinental title match, which was going to be John Cena going up against Dominik Mysterio. And in fairness here, I found myself to be very sports entertained with this match. It had all the bells and whistles in it. It had the run-ins. It had everything that you are probably really looking for in this particular match. You even got a full-on return out of this match as well, with Liv Morgan coming back, which led to an interesting little thing with how they set up Dominik Mysterio picking up the victory and getting back the IC title. Early on in the match, early on in the match itself, like, you got the whole aspect of Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez getting involved in the match, tripping up John Cena, leading to basically Dom to have control. He also hit the Three Amigos at one point. He had hit the frog splash at one point as well. But the big aspect of everything kind of went slow until they got to the spot that was an interesting one, to say the least, and honestly came off quite well. Dom went for a Hurricanrana off of the barricade to John Cena, and the way they set it up made it look like it was a botch, where it made it look like he was going for the Hurricanrana, but they kind of messed it up, and then it looks like John Cena power bombs Dom on the floor, and they start playing it up with the shoulder injury, everything on that side. So they made it seem like it was an injury or a botch that led to an injury, which actually came off quite good in the end when you do look at how the rest of the match ended up going, because this led to Raquel Rodriguez getting in the ring and hitting the Tejana bomb, and Roxanne Perez hitting the pop rocks, which of course, after that happens, Dom actually just gets up. He hits the 619 and the frog splash. Now, in the frog splash itself. Now, here's the interesting thing. After he hit the frog splash, the referee refused to count. He should, like, it was one of those things where he could have counted the pinfall and technically have won the match at the time, but he was yelling at Dom the entire time for it, and then eventually kicks out Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. So that was interesting that the ref just like, you know what, I'm not going to count this. No, this isn't the way this is going down. As if he saw everything, though technically did not see everything that had gone in the ring at the time, because, well, that would have led to a DQ at that point. Now, this did lead into John Cena getting control. He starts the 5 moves of doom, starts the 5 moves of doom, and eventually he does knock out the referee with a shoulder tackle. This actually brought out Finn and JD McDonough. They gain control for a little bit, but once they start going for their combination moonsault and coup de grace, Cena was able to counter that and eventually hits a double AA on them. And of course, this brings out Liv Morgan, who does return here, and she ended out looking like she was like looking at Cena, looking at Dom, and then just stares at Dom as if he had done something wrong. She slaps him. I was like, oh, is she just turning on Dom then? And then starts hugging John Cena. She does the actual John Cena face, though, when he turned heel earlier this year, where it's like all smiley and then now not looking directly at John's face. And then she just kind of goes cold with everything and low blows John Cena. This leads to the 619, Dom hitting the frog splash, and it is game over, and Dominik Mysterio has the Intercontinental title once again. Again, this was a fun match. I actually did enjoy this match. I thought it was good. Is it overbooked? Yeah, it's absolutely overbooked. Was I sports entertained? Yes, I was sports entertained with this particular match, and it's good to see Dominik Mysterio with that Intercontinental title once again. Now you have the whole aspect of John Cena's going towards his final match, which is going to be set up here soon on December 13th, and then Dominik Mysterio has the Intercontinental title, and now things can start rolling again within the Judgment Day if they're going to be continuing on with the storyline that they had been doing earlier on. Now, after Dominik Mysterio and Cena had their match, they did go into the Women's World Championship match, which was Stephanie Vaquer going up against Nikki Bella. Now, they did have that aspect of having to follow this match, and if you're following an overbooked match like that and then coming out and basically, I wouldn't say having a basic match, but having just a straight one-on-one match where there's no interference, there's no overbooking, there's no this or that, the fans were kind of lackluster to this match, to say the least. Honestly, I felt like the match was actually a pretty good match between the two of them. Stephanie Vaquer is great in the ring, and Nikki Bella was able to keep up with her as well. I felt like there was only like one really weird spot, which was in the corner, but it eventually led to Stephanie Vaquer hitting the dragon screw for everything. But honestly, this match, again, it fell on an aspect of, the crowd was really into the Cena stuff, into the Cena and Dom stuff, and then they had to follow that. Yes, I know there was a long period of time in between matches, which was pretty much for all the matches here, because they had to get every single ad in there that they could for everything. But honestly, that you still had to kind of follow Cena and Dom's match, which I felt like in terms of the in-ring stuff, yeah, it came off actually pretty good in this case. I would probably say I probably enjoyed Cena and Dom's match more than this one, but it was still a relatively good match. And basically what they ended up doing, kind of what was it? What they ended up doing at the beginning of the match, Nikki Bella did jump Stephanie Vaquer right as the bell rang, kind of gain control and everything, even tease the Devil's Kiss, doing the Devil's Kiss to Stephanie Vaquer for everything on that one. Then Stephanie Vaquer did hit the Dragon Screw in the SVB for 2 count. Nikki did hit her finisher, the Rack Attack 2.0, and then actually got a 2 count because Stephanie Vaquer was too close to the ropes and ended out getting one of her feet on the ropes itself. This did eventually lead to both of them being outside, and Stephanie Vaquer does eventually hit the Devil's Kiss on the actual on the not the actual but on the announce table, and then does it again in the ring, and then hits the corkscrew moonsault to pick up the victory. And again, I did think this match was actually a pretty good one. The crowd really didn't get much into this match until the ending of the match itself, but I mean, overall, it came off as a pretty good match. And of course, the main event of the night, following Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella's match, was the men's War Games match. Yes, there was only 4 matches on this card. So CM Punk did start everything off for the baby faces, and then Braun Breaker started off everything for the heels. In order for this, because the men on the men's War Games match, the heel team did have the advantage. Afterwards, Drew McIntyre came out, followed by Cody Rhodes, followed by Logan Paul, then followed by Jimmy Uso, Bronson Reed for the heels after that, Jey Uso for the baby faces after that, and then Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns came out last for both of their teams. Again, this match itself was fine. It wasn't too great. I mean, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes did both get busted open in this particular match, so you did get some blood inside of this one as well. One of the scariest spots in the match was when Braun Breaker took the Doomsday device inside the ring, but did not rotate over and landed very awkwardly to a point that it's like, that was not a good landing. He kind of landed more on his shoulder and neck than he did his back, and it didn't come off all that well. I did like the whole aspect of Bronson Reed coming into the match and immediately hitting a bunch of tsunamis on everybody who was inside of the ring at the time. I thought that was a nice little touch, and just having him come out and being dominant like that. We didn't really get any too much of a crazy spots in the men's War Games match. Cody Rhodes did come off of the top of the cage with a crossbody on top of everybody in the ring at the time. Now that was an aspect, and they did do this in both matches as well, where in the men's match, Drew was trying to keep the door shut and prevent Cody from coming in to help out CM Punk. So he climbed the cage. They also did this spot as well in the women's War Games match, where Becky Lynch was holding the door shut when AJ Lee was coming out. She also did the smart thing and just climbed into the cage so she could get in there. So they did do that spot twice throughout the night. But yeah, like I said, this match was ultimately fine. I can't really put too much into everything that happened beforehand. I did like what was it? I did like the whole aspect of what was it? Thinking on the top of my head here, I did like the whole aspect when everybody was in the ring, and they had Logan Paul with the brass knucks at one point. Roman eventually spears him and gets the brass knucks himself and starts doing Superman punches with him. With that, when Brock entered the ring, well, yeah, he did Brock things. Basically, like, you know what Brock Lesnar does when he gets into the ring at this point in time. He suplexes people, he throws people around, he hits F5s. That's what he just does. So that's when I say Brock Lesnar did Brock Lesnar things. That's what he did for it. I did find it kind of funny that, well, I won't say kind of funny, but kind of expected that Jey Uso got a encore of his music mid match before everybody was in the ring, and we didn't even get a countdown, and it just gets interrupted by Brock Lesnar's music. It's like, and we're done with this. Type thing. So you didn't even get a countdown for that one. The interesting aspect towards the end of the match was, and once everybody got into the ring, it was probably about another 5 minutes as well. It was not long. Like both War Games matches, once everybody got into the ring itself, it did not last too terribly long afterwards. But once everybody did get into the ring, you had Roman hitting, he hit that spear and got the brass knucks from Logan Paul. Did Superman punch to Bronson Reed, and I believe Braun Breaker as well, taking them down for a moment. He was going to do it to Brock Lesnar, but then he lifted up Jey Uso for an F5, and then Roman speared him through a table. That took out Brock for the rest of the match. This led to the end, where CM Punk had control. He does hit a GTS on Logan Paul, and it looks like he's about to go for the cover. That gets broken up by Braun Breaker. As that is happening, a mystery guy, somebody covered up completely in a hoodie, gloves, everything, climbs into the ring, stares at both CM Punk and Braun Breaker, super kicks Braun Breaker, and then, or not Braun Breaker, but super kicks CM Punk, and then stumps CM Punk as to lead it to be that it's Seth Rollins. Now, the rumor going about that is that the person under the mask for this one was Austin Theory, and will probably show up as part of the Vision here soon enough, maybe even as early as Monday. That is the initial rumor that is going around, and also the initial reports by PW Insider, and what is led to be believe through Fightful Select as well. So that is what everybody's kind of believing on that at the moment. They don't have a full report on that. That's just where everybody is believing to be. This led to Braun spearing CM Punk, picking up the victory. And again, after the match itself, you really didn't get too much of anything here. You had the stare down between the heels, left the ring celebrating everything in that sense. You had the fireworks go off, and then you had everybody still inside of the ring, and you had the stare down between Roman Reigns and CM Punk, which led to Roman picking up CM Punk and fist bumping him, which I guess leads them to be that they're cool now at this point. But he also stares down Cody Rhodes, and leading to believe that this may be the WrestleMania main event. That's the person who he's going after, because he said, it's like, just want you to know, we're never teaming again, style thing. So honestly itself, again, I felt like the match itself was fine. It wasn't overtly exciting by any stretch of the imagination. And honestly, I didn't think the two War Games matches themselves were all that exciting. Like I said, I did like the spots inside of the women's War Games match more than I did in the men's War Games match. I do like the fact that they teased WrestleMania main events, potentially, even though the rumor on that is that Braun pinning CM Punk is leading that to being the match for WrestleMania, though that makes me feel like it's more in the immediate future. And also you have everything with the Vision and the mystery guy, though I guess so it would lead me that it would be more his immediate future that he'd be going up against Braun Breaker, but also you had that bit between him and Logan Paul as well, so that might be the immediate future as well. And you do get that tease potentially of it being Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, which honestly I enjoyed their first two matches against each other, so I would not mind seeing it again personally. But I felt like a lot of people would be looking for that big moment, that big moment within the men's War Games match as well, which you just didn't get. You got the stare down and it was done. So overall, the match was fine. The aftermath, it did what it needed to do, but it wasn't all that great. And to be honest with you, after watching the War Games matches and watching the Blood and Guts matches, uh, back on a few weeks ago with AEW, I felt like the Blood and Guts matches did a better job of getting the War Games thing over. And that's just mainly due to the fact that, there's a certain aspect to the Blood and Guts matches that do feel more like old style War Games versus the War Games that WWE puts on, because WWE allows for like a pinfall and submission, where if you really did watch the old War Games matches themselves, pinfalls were never really a thing in those particular matches outside of maybe one of them at the time. But the whole thing about those War Games matches was about making the other team or someone on the other team either submit or surrender, which is the style that you get within the AEW matches. And I do like that, and I did end up liking the stories that they told within both of those matches as well, a little bit better than, say, over here on WWE's War Games matches. So overall, again, I felt the show was fine. It was I was probably more entertained by the two singles matches, the two title matches, more so than the War Games matches themselves, in terms of story and just in terms of what they were doing within those matches. But yeah, overall, this show is fine. I'm not shocked when you would probably say, just based on how everything goes, that some people even say this show was kind of boring, to go along with it as well. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on WWE Survivor Series. If you have your own thoughts, feel free to put them in the comments below. Like the video if you so wish as well. Subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I do thank you guys for watching and everything. I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.